Hello everyone, this is HammerTron here with a new action figure review for you. This time I will be reviewing the Demogoblin Build-A-Figure. This came out in 2020. These are all the individual action figures in the wave. I have already reviewed each of these individual action figures, and then I have put them back in the box for storage. I also like to display them in the box sometimes in a nice window box so I can see the action figure. So I have not assembled the Build-A-Figure yet, and after I assemble it, I don't know if I'll be able to take it apart again very easily and put the pieces back into the individual boxes, so I'll just have to store it separately. I do like these window boxes, and they're useful for storage in case I have to move or if I want to change my display. So in just a moment I will have the Demogoblin assembled. Here are the parts of the Marvel Legends Demogoblin Build-A-Figure from 2020, and looks interesting. We have a nice ugly looking head here with the tongue sticking out, and a couple of the legs. So the joints seem to be working. The knee works. There's a boot cut. The ankles go down, and it's a bit stiff, but it goes up. And ankle pivot. So both legs are working properly. So yep, all that's working properly, smoothly. Here are the arm joints. The shoulder joints are ratcheted. They're a bit tight. There we go. So we can hear the snapping there. So that works. The bicep cut, double jointed elbows. The wrists turn. The fingers are kind of thin and pliable plastic, so we want to be careful with those. So we want to get the joint lined up. All that seems to be working. And here's the body. There's a cape, nice tattered cape, just slides over the top there. This is where we put the head. This belt piece is very loose, so we could probably take it off if we wanted to. There's a waist cut, crunch. So the belt is loose. Oh, that's interesting. We can see through the body there where the arms go in. And the hips work. Here is a stand. This stand is for the glider. So nicely sculpted and painted. The feet will go in here. And here's a hole where we can set this on top of the stand. Now, we want to be careful and gentle as we push down on it. It seems to be a bit tight, but it should work. There we go. And then we'll be able to pose this in a flying position. So, in just a moment, I will assemble this and take a look at the action figure itself. Here is the Demogoblin action figure all assembled. Let's take a look at how tall this action figure is. It looks like about 6.5 inches tall. So that's not too bad for a regular action figure, but for a Build-A-Figure, I really want something bigger than that. And 6.5 inches is basically the same size as a regular Marvel Legends action figure, so it's not quite big enough. So that's one of the disappointing things about it. It certainly does look cool. I like how it looks. I remember reading the comic book stories when this Demogoblin action figure was, well, not the action figure, but the character was introduced in the comic books during the Infernal storyline that crossed over through many comic books in Marvel Comics. This was maybe the late 80s or the early 90s or so. So that was a fun story, and just a fun monstrous character to be introduced. So kind of looks like that character. Interesting tongue sticking out of the mouth with some very sharp teeth. Looks kind of ugly. And some scaly arms here. I like the tattered cape. And the different colors on each side here. So it looks nice. And nice hood here. The body is a bit plain. That's not too bad. And then they did make the nice boots here. And the curled up toes of the boots. So little peg holes. Now these little peg holes are actually little hexagons. So they made it look nice. And then this belt here, I think looks really nice. They've sculpted in a lot of details, and they even painted the details. But the biggest problem I have here is it looks like it has come loose, and so far I have not been able to put this back together on the body. Now if I take this belt off, I can peg the belt together. It'll fit together, but the body seems to be too big. So that's one of the things I'm worried about. You know, if all these action figures are made out of plastic or kind of a rubbery plastic, I wonder if over time they're going to start shrinking or warping or something. So this has been in a package for a couple of years. This came out in 2020, early 2020, and I'm getting around to putting it together now in late 2022, almost 2023. So I wonder if the plastic has warped over time. I might be able to stretch it together and try to glue it, but I'm a little disappointed about that. It looks nice, but I want it to work properly. Now, I've had some problems putting this together. I did not enjoy putting this together. I actually had to use the hairdryer to warm up the plastic to try to stick these legs in. I couldn't make them stick in before. You know, they connect here where we have an upper thigh cut. You know, that part works now, but I had to use a hairdryer to warm it up so I could push it into place. Otherwise, it just wouldn't have gone in because there was still a gap. And, you know, being a big, fully grown adult here, I was getting worried that I was going to be breaking this while putting it together. But the hairdryer seems to have worked. I had to use a hairdryer to try to get the head on. Now that was very difficult. Very difficult to get the head onto the little ball peg in there. And one disappointing thing here is it seems to have limited the articulation because of the hood design on the headpiece here and this cape. So this head is very, very stiff and stuck, and I don't know if it'll pop off on me or not, but it limits the articulation. I can just turn a little bit. I can't really get it to look up or down. And then the way this cape fits over the body here, it kind of pushes this belt out of place, and it just makes it look a little messy. So the monstrous character is nice, and I would like to like the action figure. It kind of looks cool, but I just didn't enjoy putting it together, and it doesn't seem to be all that well put together. It wasn't designed very well. Also, this cape seems to flare out a little more than I would like, but that's because the head is being pushed down onto the cape piece. So I'm kind of disappointed with how this turned out, because I do want to have kind of a monstrous character. This one is useful not only for Marvel comic book display or diorama, but I could also use this as a monster character in other dioramas fighting knights or other fantasy type characters. Here is Demogoblin on the Firebat glider on the stand. So it does look pretty nice. I like the stand and how we can make it look like this character is flying through the air on Firebat. If we take a look at about how tall it is, maybe around 10 inches tall. Could be a little taller if I straighten it out more. So it's a nice height. And it looks nice flying through the air this way. Now the stand, we have to put the Firebat on a ball there. We have to push gently to make it fit, but once it's up there, we don't really want to turn it very much because the friction there between the Firebat and the little ball at the top is pretty tight. So if we turn it, we're twisting this plastic piece, and this plastic stand is pretty thin. So, surprisingly thin, so I don't think it can stand up to very much twisting before it breaks. So, if we're turning this on the ball, we want to hold on to it on the plastic part while we maneuver it into different positions. That way, we're less likely to break anything. So, it seems to balance pretty well. We can put it in some different positions, like it's swooping in or heading up. Well, this will throw it off balance here. But we can tilt it to the side for different battle poses or scenes. So I do like that. I think it's a pretty nice extra feature. It just would have been nice if this were a stronger, more robust piece of plastic so that I'd be less worried about breaking it. So that part looks pretty nice though. Here is Demogoblin standing next to a pair of 4-inch action figures. On the right is an adventurer from an Animal Planet set I reviewed a while ago, and on the left is the Fortnite Jonesy action figure by Jazzwares. Here is Demogoblin standing next to a pair of 6-inch action figures. On the right is the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin White Ranger, and on the left is the Fortnite Legendary Series Havoc action figure by Jazzwares. Here is Demogoblin standing next to a pair of 7-inch action figures. On the right is the Masters of the Universe Masterverse He-Man action figure by Mattel, and on the left is the DC Multiverse Green Lantern Kyle Rayner action figure by McFarlane Toys. Here is Demogoblin standing next to a pair of Build-A-Figures. On the right is the Atrocitus Collective Build-A-Figure from the DC Multiverse action figures by McFarlane Toys. That one's a little more than 9 inches tall. And on the left is the Marvel Legends Super Skrull Build-A-Figure by Hasbro. That's about 7 inches tall. Here is Demogoblin on his Firebat glider next to a pair of 4-inch action figures. On the right is an adventurer from an Animal Planet set I reviewed a while ago. And on the left is the Fortnite Jonesy action figure by Jazzwares. Here is Demogoblin on his Firebat glider next to a pair of 6-inch action figures. On the right is the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Mighty Morphin White Ranger by Hasbro. And on the left is the Fortnite Legendary Series Havoc action figure by Jazzwares. Here is Demogoblin on his Firebat glider next to a pair of 7-inch action figures. On the right is the Masters of the Universe Masterverse He-Man action figure by Mattel. And on the left is the DC Multiverse Green Lantern Kyle Rayner action figure by McFarlane Toys. Here's Demogoblin on his Firebat glider next to a pair of Build-A-Figures. On the right is the Atrocitus Collective Build-A-Figure from DC Multiverse at about 9 inches tall by McFarlane Toys. And on the left, at about 7 inches, is the Marvel Legends Super Skrull Build-A-Figure. So they look bigger than Demogoblin. Demogoblin, however, is a little bit taller on the Fire Bat Glider stand. I think this is a nice wave of action figures. We have Vulture, White Rabbit, Demogoblin, Superior Octopus, Spider Armor Mark III, Velocity Suit Spider-Man, and Master of Kung Fu Shang-Chi. And looks like 3 bad guys to 4 good guys. I think Superior Octopus is considered a good guy with the mind of Dr. Octopus in a cloned body of Peter Parker, who's the real Spider-Man, and then that influenced Dr. Octopus to become a good guy. So this version is the Superior Octopus. Now these two are just different suits that Spider-Man wears, so maybe it's really 3 to 3. 3 bad guys and 3 good guys, so that's not too bad. It's just a little bit lopsided. I'd like to have more bad guys than good guys, so that good guys are more heroic, battling against overwhelming odds. But anyway, it's a nice wave, and there are many other Marvel Legends action figures to add to the collection. So I'm going to rank these from my least favorite to favorite. And although I do like how all of them look, what's really going to knock them down a peg is the problems or defects with the action figure. I think we spend too much money on the action figures for there to really be any big problems with them. And so I think I'll put Demogoblin at the bottom of the list. I'm just annoyed about how much trouble I had putting it together. It's just not very much fun. And also, as the Build-A-Figure, as we can see, it's really just not any bigger than the regular action figures. So even though Demogoblin comes with this extra Fire Bat Glider, which is pretty nice, I just have to put it at the bottom of the list. Putting it together just wasn't very much fun, and I was afraid I would break it. Next is Shang-Chi. There's a problem with the ankle, and that really bothers me. I want more flexibility and to be able to pose this action figure. And next is Superior Octopus. One leg there is not working properly at the boot cut. It just doesn't work. So that's too bad. And then next is Vulture. One of the wings keeps falling off, and that's no fun. Other than that, the Vulture action figure is okay. And then next is the Spider Armor Mark III. I think there are some limitations in the joints, especially in the shoulder, so that's not very much fun, but other than that, it seems to be working pretty well. And then next is a White Rabbit. I've had very few problems with that particular action figure, so I'm kind of pleased. And also kind of an obscure character. I like obscure characters because they don't get enough attention. So my favorite action figure out of this wave is the Velocity Suit Spider-Man. I think all the joints worked the best on this action figure compared with all the others, so I'm very, very pleased about that. And it does look cool. I'm not familiar with this look, but it still looks cool. So the Velocity Suit Spider-Man is my favorite out of the whole wave. So how about you leave a comment and state which action figures are your favorite in this wave. The HammerTron Sledgehammer rating for the Demogoblin Build-A-Figure is just not very good. Mostly the problem is how much trouble I actually had putting it together and feeling like I was going to break it as I was trying to put it together. And I had to get a hairdryer out to warm up the plastic to make it fit together. So I don't really enjoy having to do extra things in order to enjoy an action figure. You know, I should just be able to pull it out of the package and start enjoying it right away with no problems. Another problem is the plastic belt piece here came loose and I haven't been able to put it back together yet. It'll take some work to do that. Also, the cape kind of flares out a bit much. I do like the how the action figure looks. It's, you know, kind of lean and skinny, so looks kind of like it does in the comic book, so that's nice. And all of the designs look pretty good, so I like that. I just didn't like feeling like I was gonna break it. This other accessory, you know, the flying fire bat glider thing is really nice. And this stand is great, although I'd like it to be more robust. So another actual problem is that this Build-A-Figure is just too small. I really want Build-A-Figures that are bigger to make it more worthwhile and just feel like I'm getting more for my money. So that's my review for the Marvel Legends Demogoblin Build-A-Figure from 2020. Thank you for watching my review. Remember to like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to my channel to keep up to date with my future reviews. I'll see you next time. Goodbye, everyone.